Welcome back to Most Amazing Top 10. Today we have quite the list for you that covers all manner of secrets. From illicit affairs to nefarious collaborations, today we have all the things to tickle your space bone. Be warned, we may ruin a couple heroes here, but hey, all in the name of science. I'm your host Rachel Fisher, and join me as we count down our top 10 list of dark things astronauts refuse to talk about. And you'll see why. Number 10, a car crash. Let's start with the drama here. Pretty sure if you say you're an astronaut, people are going to look at you differently. In a good way. Man, you've been to space. After all, you are a human being who has seen just how small the world is compared to the wide universe. Many revere James Donald Halsell Jr. after the 5 space shuttle missions he took before retiring in 2006. But he must have hit the ground hard when he came down to Earth. Halsell was traveling in his car to West Monroe, Louisiana, and stopped at a Motel 6. While there, he downed 3 glasses of wine before heading back on the road, which is a no-no. Therefore, tragedy struck. James crashed into a car, killing 2 of the young passengers in the vehicle who flew from the car when they crashed. He was going extremely fast and reportedly tried to steal a bystander's car when he stopped at the site. James told police that he didn't remember leaving the hotel or how the crash occurred. Though they found no drugs at the scene, police did find 10 empty sleeping pill packages back at the room. NASA declined to comment about the arrest. Very sad. Number 9, a love triangle. This one? Oh my god. This next one is pretty rough. We all know what it's like to go through a breakup. It's not fun. It sucks. It doesn't necessarily bring out the best in you. Mother of 3 and mission flight engineer as well as crew member on the 13-day shuttle mission, Lisa Nowak was a prominent figure in NASA's astronaut team. She was even the inspiration for Natalie Portman in the film Lucy in the Sky before she went all breakup song on her ex. In February 2007, Lisa drove from Houston to Orlando, Florida, wearing diapers, so she didn't have to stop, to confront the woman who she claims stole her man. She claimed she was going to have a calm conversation, but instead she ended up attacking her. She was in a wig and a trench coat and there was pepper spray. It was a whole ordeal. William O'Fallon and Nowak trained together and began an affair in 2004. Both divorced their partners, with Nowak thinking her future was with William. Wrong. William started exclusively dating Air Force Captain Colleen Shipman, and he thought Nowak took it well when he told her. Instead, she ended up sneaking into his apartment, read their email exchanges, and well, flash forward to a 900-mile drive, pepper spray, and nightmares Shipman will have for the rest of her life. Initially arrested on the attempted murder charges, they were dropped to less aggressive accusations like attempted burglary and kidnapping. Shipman and Bill are now married, while Nowak, after years of counseling, is doing much better, though she refuses to talk about the event for obvious reasons. I hope you're doing better. Number 8, married to his work. NASA ended up wanting so little to do with this guy that they actually fired him. Today, divorce is about as common as breakups in high school. Though some happy news, it looks like the percentage is going down, but in the 60s, getting divorced was a major taboo. NASA's astronauts were about the closest thing to comic book heroes the world had ever seen, and they knew that public opinion was a huge part of their funding. So, when an astronaut hero misbehaved, NASA wasn't going to stand for it. Don Easel wasn't exactly a faithful husband, and he rarely visited his son, who was dying of leukemia. He also cheated on his wife multiple times at Cape Canaveral, which was flooded with eager groupies. He gaslighted his wife several times when she asked him to admit it, and when she suggested going to therapy if he thought she was crazy, he replied, "But I'll lose my job." Don and Harriet at last divorced, and NASA soon followed, firing Don as well. Bye, Don. See you later. Number 7, the Astronauts Wives Club. Not a fun time. Speaking of astronauts behaving badly, let's talk about the reports of the Astronauts Wives Club. These lovely ladies were used to a measly military pay when suddenly they became celebrities overnight, and given the aforementioned squeaky clean image NASA wanted to protect, any scandal was swept under the rug. According to the Astronauts Wives Club, a true story by Lily Copel. On the outside, they were the ideal Stepford wives, apple pie baking, apron wearing beauties. But out of the 30 astronaut marriages from 1961 to 69, only 7 would stay married. The biggest wedge in the marriage was the time the men spent at Florida's Cape Canaveral, which I previously mentioned, which became off-limits playground. Cape Cookies became the name of the women who would magically appear to have their own rockets launched by the men who would touch the stars. To handle the silence and stress, the wives turned to excessive ways to self-medicate, the nightly gin and tonic with a tranquilizer garnish. Yeah. pretty rough. Number 6. Fireflies. Ice particles, they said. Part of the capsule heat shield, they said. Could it have been that John Glenn saw something else instead? Glenn was the first American astronaut to orbit the planet in 1962. He was also one of the good ones. He and his wife Annie were married for 73 years. In fact, when he left to fight in World War II, he told her, and I quote, "I'm just going down to the corner store to get a pack of gum," to which she replied, "Don't be long." He said that every time he went away to war. She kept a gum wrapper in her purse every time after that. Anyways, grab a tissue, that's super cute, let's continue. Glenn, while flying over Australia, saw strange floating mass like tiny little stars outside the Friendship 7 capsule. When he tapped on the window, they flew off. Mission Control were at first concerned the anomalies were fragments of the heat shield, but that wasn't the case. No, it was something else. NASA has since explained the sighting as ice particles, but up until his death in 2016, Glenn never really believed it. His wife Annie finally joined him at peace, passing away due to COVID complications at the age of 100 in May 2020. Number 5. Space music. According to the Guinness Book of World Records, the first song played in space was Jingle Bells on the 16th of December 1965. It was broadcasted during NASA's Gemini GA spaceflight. Though there have been several musicians played out there in the big space ever since, there remains an artist unknown. Eugene Cernan in the Apollo 10 space capsule reported hearing a strange kind of music during a mission. What he described as a strange musical whistling sound, like how you would imagine space music to be, like the I can't do it. Just imagine very sci-fi. He reached out to NASA Mission Control to see if they'd heard it too. According to the mission transcripts released in 2008, the sounds were recorded. Of course, alien theories have spread far and wide, but NASA made no comment. Then, in the Apollo 11, Michael Collins recorded hearing the same sound while orbiting the moon. This time, NASA was prepared. They said it was, and I quote, "interference between the LMs and command modules VHS radios," unquote. Sure it was, NASA. Sure it was. Number 4. Bright lights and beyond. It might surprise you to learn that not only do we have a ton of garbage down here on Earth, but a ton of space junk sits just above us. In fact, the estimate for just how much is staggering. Around 128 million pieces, about 6,000 tons of space debris in space. Earth's low orbit carries millions of rocket and spacecraft fragments along with dead satellites. Each one is flying around 18,000 miles per hour, so faster than a bullet? Yeah. So the likelihood of astronauts encountering space debris is pretty high, but this one example is pretty staggering. But that doesn't stop this case from being very strange. Brent Jett was in the STS-150 mission in 2006 on his way to help construct the ISS. But then he noticed, and I quote, "some kind of reflective structure," unquote, outside the shuttle. According to him, quote, "it doesn't look like anything I've ever seen outside of this shuttle, that's for sure," unquote. NASA took control of the camera and there were 3 bright objects in the sky. When they ordered an inspection of the craft, they saw nothing. Not even a hint. Space junk or aliens? NASA has no explanation and they won't talk about it, so what is it? And heading on to our top 3, number 3, the Gordo UFO. I suppose it's not too hard to guess that Major Gordo Cooper was a lover of all things space, but it turns out that his adoration goes deeper than that. In 1957, 30-year-old Cooper was test pilot and project manager of the fighter section of the Experimental Flight Test Engineering Division at Edwards AFB in California. 2 members of his crew one morning mentioned to him that they caught sight of a strange saucer-like object. It apparently didn't make a sound as it landed and took off. The 2 men took photos of the craft, and Cooper was ordered to have the film developed, have no prints made, and send it right away to the Pentagon. He was also instructed not to look, but like of course he did. He saw exactly what the 2 men described and to his very deathbed insisted the government was covering it up. But not only that, on his 1963 solo trip, he had a close encounter that was broadcasted on NBC. He saw a glowing green object approaching and it was picked up on radar. But when he got to Earth, he wasn't allowed to talk about it. Number 2. Edits in space. Could NASA be editing the footage sent down from the International Space Station? This theory is hot among conspiracists. The idea really started to gain traction in July 2016. 2 different cameras 25 hours apart spotted a distinct square shape, larger than the Earth. Initially, UFO hunters concluded that it had to be some kind of unidentified object in our orbit, but another theory surfaced, that the shapes were actually attempts by NASA to edit something else out. Could it be meteors or a cover-up of something NASA has determined we are not ready to see yet? NASA was forced to deny that they didn't attempt a cover-up, but UFO hunters will never rest until the truth is revealed, even if it has been already, so we don't really know what's true. And last but not least, the Reich and NASA. Well, this is a surprising little tidbit, but honestly, I'm not too surprised. This is definitely worthy of being number one, especially since NASA doesn't advertise it really at all. During World War II, the US recruited the help of over 1,600 German Yahtzee scientists. Yes, I said Yahtzee because apparently YouTube gets scared, they are Death Eaters. Anyways, they hired over 1,600 German Yahtzee scientists in institutes like NASA to increase their payroll. The code name for this operation was Operation Paperclip because of all the paperclips on the immigration files, which brought in Werner von Braun and his V-2 rocket team. The former SS officer would become a US citizen and was a key architect in the Apollo program. What? In 1977, he was awarded the National Medal of Science despite having previously hand-picked slave laborers in Buchenwald for his rocket building efforts. Yeah, so that's special. Anyways guys, that was our list for today. I've been your host Rachel Fisher. If you really like this video, you know what to do. Let us know, comment, like, subscribe, blow kisses, do what you need to do. I'm happy with either. Anyways guys, until next time, take care.